This is Haulover Inlet in Miami, Florida. For boaters, it can be one of the most challenging and notorious passages in the United States. Every year, countless boats, from small center consoles to massive yachts, take on this narrow, man-made channel that connects Biscayne Bay to the Atlantic Ocean. But as you're about to see, many don't come out unscathed. This beautiful waterway has a dark side, infamous for its treacherous conditions that have tested the most seasoned sailors and claimed vessels and tragically lives. But what makes this place so uniquely hazardous? It's not just about big waves. It's a powerful, unseen forces and an ever-changing underwater landscape. It's where Mother Nature's immense power gets funneled into a narrow choke point, creating pure chaos. In this video, we're going to break down exactly why this beautiful stretch of water can be a nightmare for even the most experienced captains and show you the terrifying real-life moments that prove why Haulover Inlet is no ordinary waterway. To the casual observer, Haulover Inlet, which was cut back in 1925, looks like a simple gateway to the ocean. On a calm day at slack tide, it's deceptively peaceful. But that tranquility masks a violent collision of natural forces just waiting to be unleashed. The danger here isn't random. It's a predictable, yet often underestimated, clash of two powerful elements: the tide and the swell. First, the tide. The inlet is a major tidal outlet for the northern part of Biscayne Bay. When the tide goes out, a staggering volume of water is forced through this relatively narrow channel. Imagine emptying a giant swimming pool through a single fire hose. That's the kind of pressure we're talking about. This creates a powerful, fast-moving river rushing out to sea, strong enough to push even large boats off course and toward the unforgiving rock jetties. Now let's add the second ingredient, the Atlantic swell. These are waves of energy, often born from storms hundreds of miles away, marching relentlessly toward the coast. The real spectacle at Haulover, the thing that makes it so uniquely dangerous, is when these two forces meet head-on. The powerful outgoing tide slams directly into the incoming ocean swell. When that fast-moving wall of water collides with waves rolling in from the opposite direction, the waves have nowhere to go but up. They're forced to stand up, becoming dramatically taller, steeper, and packed tightly together. This phenomenon, known as standing waves, turns the inlet into a liquid minefield. These aren't the rolling, predictable waves you find offshore. They are chaotic, vertical walls of water that can pop up out of nowhere, capable of overwhelming even large vessels in seconds. If the battle on the surface wasn't enough, an invisible danger lurks below, constantly shifting sandbars. The same powerful currents that build the waves are also constantly moving sand on the seabed. This means the depth of the inlet is never the same from one day to the next. A channel that was deep enough to pass through last week might have a dangerously shallow sandbar today, creating an underwater obstacle course that's completely invisible from the surface. This constant shoaling is a terrifying thought for any captain. Running aground in calm water is an inconvenience. Running aground in the middle of Haulover during a strong outgoing tide is a potential catastrophe. A boat that gets stuck is a sitting duck, held in place while the full force of the inlet's waves crashes into it. It loses all steering and is left completely at the mercy of the violent seas, often getting spun broadside to the waves, the most vulnerable position for any vessel. This is where the inlet feels less like a natural phenomenon and more like a predator laying a trap. While the natural forces make Haulover incredibly dangerous, the most unpredictable factor is, as always, human. The inlet has become a global spectacle, with YouTube channels dedicated to filming the daily drama. This draws a strange mix of boaters: the seasoned pros, the weekend warriors, the overconfident, and the simply unaware. And it's their decisions that often turn a challenge into a disaster. We see the same mistakes over and over. There's the issue of speed, a delicate balance that's tough to get right. Go too slow and you risk losing steerage as the current pushes you around. Go too fast and you risk stuffing the bow, plowing straight into a wave and instantly taking on a massive amount of water that can sink a boat in minutes. Then there's timing. The worst incidents almost always happen when boaters try to run the inlet at the absolute worst time. A peak outgoing tide combined with a strong onshore wind. An experienced local captain knows to wait, to respect the inlet and pass through near slack tide when the conditions are calmest. But for those on a tight schedule, or those who just don't know any better, impatience can lead to a terrifying ride. And tragically, there's the issue of impairment. Operating a boat under the influence magnifies the dangers of any waterway, but in a place like Haulover, it can have devastating consequences. In 2020, a boat operator whose passengers said had been drinking and using drugs crashed near the Haulover sandbar, which tragically resulted in the death of a 27-year-old passenger. It's a stark reminder that the immense dangers here are amplified exponentially by reckless human behavior. To really get it, you have to see it. Let's look at a few classic scenarios that play out here nearly every day. Case study 1, the small boats gamble. You see it all the time. A center console, maybe 20 to 25 feet, sizing up the inlet. The captain sees the standing waves and thinks, I can just power through. They throttle up, but the boat is too small and the waves are too steep. The first wave throws the bow toward the sky. The second crashes over the top, flooding the deck with water and killing their momentum. Now they're sitting low, heavy, and a third wave is bearing down. Their mistake? They misjudged the power of the inlet and overestimated their boat's capability. They should have waited or just turned around. Case study 2, the big yacht's blunder. It's not just the little guys. We often see multi-million-dollar yachts make a critical error born of arrogance. The captain, sitting high in an enclosed bridge, thinks their size makes them invincible. They maintain a high speed, trying to just plow through. But even a huge vessel can be tossed around by Haulover's confused seas. The boat launches off a wave and slams down with a bone-jarring impact that can injure passengers and damage the ship. Their mistake was a lack of respect. Speed isn't always your friend here. The pros often work the throttles, skillfully keeping the boat on the back of a wave to maintain control, not just bulldozing ahead. Case study 3, the point of no return. Maybe the scariest mistake is a moment of indecision. A boater enters the inlet, realizes they're in over their head, and makes the fatal choice to turn around mid-channel. This exposes the boat's side, its beam, to the full force of the waves. A wave that a boat can handle on the bow can easily flip it when taken on the side. We've seen it happen time and again. A moment of panic leads a captain to make the one move that almost guarantees disaster. The mistake was hesitation. Once you commit to running an inlet like this, you almost always have to see it through. The time to turn back was before you ever entered the chaos. So what makes Haulover Inlet so notoriously dangerous? It's not just one thing, but a lethal cocktail of ingredients. It's the sheer power of an outgoing tide clashing with the relentless energy of the Atlantic swell. It's the steep, chaotic standing waves created by that collision, which can swallow a boat whole. It's the invisible, shifting sandbars that rearrange the battlefield without warning. And finally, it's the human element, the inexperience, the overconfidence, and the bad judgment that can turn a risky passage into a tragic one. Haulover Inlet is a powerful, humbling reminder of nature's force. It's proof that beauty and danger can exist in the exact same place, and that the ocean always has the final say. It demands respect, knowledge, and humility. Without them, it will continue to be one of America's most challenging and unforgiving waterways. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Haulover Inlet. Have you ever navigated a tricky waterway like this? Share your stories and insights in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about staying safe on the water, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.